There's a lot of people who suffer in isolation.
By the time I was 13, I ended up in foster care. I had lost connection and contact to the only family I had ever known overnight. I mean, I've been broke, I've been homeless, I've lost it all. And that's what matters, your character.
And it's okay to be different because that's what makes you unique.
I was calm. I was at peace while the world was at chaos. And I think it was because the chaos that I had gone through before that point had prepared me mentally for what was to come. I had to be bad at health and wellness first to understand how to be better at it. The process is going to happen. You're in the middle of it, but enjoy right now.
Find the time to slow down.
A healthy man will have 1,000 wishes, but a sick person will only have one.
Welcome to Creative Connect. It's your boy Dukes. We're back again. And you know, every single time I got someone special to talk to about the creative journey. And the reason why we create this space is to give creatives the opportunity to talk about their journey. Because a lot of the times we're stuck up on seeing the end result, but not this time. This time we're going to dive deep into who the person is, what the person is, why the person is, and most importantly, how the person is. And here we have today a good friend of mine, Miranda. How are you today?
I'm great, Dukes. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast today. I'm honored.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you're here. And you know what? There needs to be a space for what you do as well. But first of all, please introduce yourself and tell people what you do.
So my name is Miranda Blake, and I own Blake's Oasis. Currently, I do wellness coaching. I do fitness instructing, virtual and in person. And I specialize in cupping and massage. So I assist with people, like teaching people just how to, up the quality of their living by 1%, or I'll teach them, let me guide you in how to relax. Because I think in this hustle culture that we live in today, we see rest as very unproductive. And I think we forget how productive resting can be in the moments of chaos.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's great. So as I was talking to you, this right now, we're going to strip away all the accolades. We're going to strip all the accolades away, and we're going to talk from the origin story of it. And I want to really kind of pedal back a little bit to first ask you, how did this journey, this kind of start for you? Where did it start for you?
So in the beginning, when I was really young, I had two very aware parents. They were separated at the time. My father always grew his garden. He's of indigenous background. He's Métis. And he would always grow his own herbs. And in his spare time, he would teach me about medical procedures. He was interested in that area, but never kind of wholeheartedly trusted it. And then my mother was very similar from the background. If you got sick, we're going to mix up some ginger, garlic, and honey. And
we do that too. Hey, if you're sick, drink tea.
Yeah.
You drink tea, you're good.
Yeah, it. Tea solves everything. So, it kind of started from there and understanding Earth gives us some things that we can utilize in our everyday lives and that we'll have access to easily and readily. And when I got older, I was misdiagnosed. I almost died from pneumonia when I was 9 years old. I had to hear the doctor tell my mom, if you don't get your daughter to the hospital within an hour, she's going to die in your arms, all because I was told I had a common cold. As I got older, I was really interested in that field because I found so many people had similar stories. I was facing a lot of adversities at a young age, and so my health was dwindling. By the time I was 13, I ended up in foster care. I had lost connection and contact to the only family I had ever known overnight. My whole life changed, and no one at school knew what was happening. They didn't know how to deal with it. And I wasn't just changing on a psychological level. It was a physiological level. It was a biochemical level. And it was nothing that the school could educate me on. So by the time I was 19, I was caught up in this hustle culture. I ended up living on my own by the time I was 17. I aged out of foster care.
How
And
was it for you? Like, you know, I hear about people growing up in foster care. Like, how was that experience for you? And most importantly, what has it taught you?
I mean, it was an experience. I feel like it had its pros and cons. I'm thankful I was put in to two different homes on two different occasions with two phenomenal women who just wanted to help. However, the experience of like dealing with law enforcement and teachers and the education system, there was a lot of discrimination and stigma there. You get stereotyped, like you're a group home kid. No one cares about your story. It's you're a group home kid, like you're disowned, like no one cares about you. And whether it was law enforcement or teachers, a lot of people kind of made you feel disregarded and not seen, very marginalized. I definitely say like you were just trash. It felt like you were just trash sometimes. So a lot of the times I went about my business. I was a very quiet person. And I just went about my business. People are only knowing now as we're older that that was my experience. Like I'd be hanging out with them and they had no idea that I was living in a group home. And I just didn't want to deal with the added stress that came with the stigmas of being someone that grew up in foster care in a group home because whichever way you put it, people always will have their preconceived notions and you're going through such a vulnerable stage in that time. You got to learn, you're learning your own value and your worth and who you are in this world. And you're going to make mistakes, but like, I feel like they judge you a lot harder on the mistakes you make because of where you are and not where you're going. And no one's trying to like encourage that, right? Because you got to kind of hold that in. So I felt like a lot of my peers I couldn't relate to because they had a family. I didn't.
Right.
So I didn't even show up to my own graduation because I didn't think no one was going to be there. So I just didn't bother. But I knew I did it for myself and I was proud of that. And, I just know that there's other people walking this life who sometimes will be in rooms who feel like they're alone. And I hope they know that, everybody's on a journey and no one's ever truly alone in this world. And if you are willing to find the strength to be vulnerable, even if it's one person that will hear you, that can make a difference in your life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's so important because there's a lot of people who suffer in isolation.
Yeah.
And, I know myself, there's moments where I would beat myself up off of this one mistake. And then I would like everything that every great thing that has happened, I throw it out the window. And, I want to make it very well known that it is okay to make mistakes.
Yes.
That is a part of the process.
And the faster you learn to make those mistakes, the better you become at it. Because like, I didn't get into health and wellness just because like, one day I woke up and no, I had to be bad at health and wellness first to understand how to be better at it. I almost had to lose my health on multiple occasions. And that's what threw me into this direction and realizing there were so many people living with anxiety. So my mother, she went missing when I was 17 for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it turned out she was just living in the streets of Toronto. And that's why I don't judge people like if they're homeless or in these streets. You don't know someone's story, And so she had lost all her memories due to severe psychosis. And what happens is that triggers your mind. It's like a defense mechanism. It protects you from the trauma that you're continuously going through. And so she had her memories compartmentalized and had forgotten who her name was, where she lived. So we lost everything. Like, yeah. So even if I could go back home, there wasn't a home to go back to. And, my father battled alcoholism. So coming from, and also I'm second generation foster child, by the way. Like my father grew up in foster care. Yeah. So, you really start taking a look at the patterns in isolation too. It's important because we're taught isolation is something to be like afraid of. I think it's empowering if you can take a look at your patterns in life or just, the journey and be present because we're so anxious for that outcome of tomorrow that, we forget the journey of right now and what it's trying to teach us and what we need to learn from this. So, my mom had psychosis and she had undiagnosed schizophrenia up until she was 43 years old. Yeah, we were only able to get her the help she needed at 43. And I am so thankful I've been able to be a part of that journey. And that process, I've been able to rekindle a beautiful relationship and get to know my mother outside of what I knew her and reframe my experience with my mother, because I had a really negative experience with, mother-daughter relationship with her. And so now being in a space where, you go through the stages of grieving, right? Even with whether mistakes you make in life too, it's a grieving process along the journey. So, by the time I was 19, I was searching for her. I found her at 23 years old, but in that process, I had gotten really severely sick. I didn't have anyone to take care of me, and doctors were constantly leading me in ways that weren't assisting me for a long-term answer or approach that I was looking for. And at that point, I felt so hopeless. So I started looking within myself. How can I do? Let me take it back to the origins. What did my father and my mother teach me? Let me go read a book. And through a lot of self-education and awareness, I've always been a high-performing athlete. I'll say that throughout my entire journey, I've always been in some sort of sport or in the gym. And I built off of that. So when I aged out of care, at 16, I lived on my own. 19, I was having seizures, bad health, heart conditions, all this sort of stuff. Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So like for you now, and this is where I really want people to like,
it's a lot.
Yeah, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But like for you, where did you find the resilience? Like, what did you do to keep yourself so rooted? Because it is a lot.
It is. I think looking at how people's lives were going and where I didn't want to end up, a lot of my friends ended up dead. A lot of my friends ended up in jail. And a lot of my friends did not come out of the life that we were living mentally well or sound. And I said, how can I stop this from happening to me? How can I not be the third generation of inflicting this? Like if I have kids, what can I do? And at that time, I didn't have children. But crazy enough, when I found my mom, I was 6 months pregnant with my daughter at that time. So that was like a powerful moment within myself, within itself. But looking towards people that were doing things that I admired and doing things that I wasn't good at. Instead of looking them as competition, I looked at them as inspiration and motivation. I remember when you started your clothing line and all the other clothing lines were popping up in the city, I saw that as a great opportunity to learn about business development and assist in certain ways. So I put myself in positive spaces that can like counteract the negativity in my life. And I would listen to like, I was a big Styles P fan back in the day.
Styles P, hey, come on.
Yes, certain songs, he's telling you, or Tupac, like you're listening to like certain music.
Tupac would be playing in my ear all the time, especially during my grind phase.
Yeah, and then when Nip came out, and even Lauryn Hill, big fan of hers, by the way. Yeah. So, she definitely got me through some moments, and, just what you put in your mind really matters, and who you're surrounding yourself with really matters, and the habits. So I was looking at the habits I didn't want to continue and just tried to do the opposite of that. And it was really hard. It takes discipline. It takes dedication. It takes sacrifice. And instead of drinking and having fun with my friends, like I said, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to work out. I'm going to meditate. Instead of, waking up at 10 a.m., I wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock most days. And I do that just so that I can have a slow morning.
Yeah.
I enjoy having slow mornings. I enjoy being able to wake up and maybe give myself a stretch, hear my thoughts, drink some tea, and think about what my day is going to be.
Wow. Yeah. So you're going through all this. What was the moment for you when your entrepreneurial journey started?
So I had always been doing hair on the side, but then health and wellness started for me in 2017. I had already kind of built up a rapport. I had worked at the YMCA as an aquatics counselor. I was training people how to swim. And then I was also working in group homes at the time. And I would take my youth into the gyms, and I would do community hours with them, like working out and teaching them the benefits of like your mental soundness when you work out, how it can have a positive impact. So I got to see how that was impacting people's lives, and people just coming forward and telling me, hey, like, you know, the information you gave me has been so helpful. Thank you so much. Like, I don't know if you remember when you did this or when you did that. And so 2017, I started Blue Zone Body Bar.
Blue Zone Body, you know, and I asked you about, like, I watched a documentary on Blue Zone. Can you touch a little bit about what the Blue Zone is for you?
Oh, so the Blue Zone is spaces throughout Earth on the different continents where people age well. They have good quality of living, even though they're well into their hundreds, they're centurions. And we have a decline in our life expectancy and an incline in cancer and stress-related diseases over here. So we look to these blue zones and we look at like the details of their livelihood to see, well, what kind of food do they ingest? Like, what kind of social circles do they have? You know, what's the difference? We contrast it. So for me, the blue zone is cultivating a space where we can just enhance the quality of our living.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you started that. Yeah. Where did that take you? What happened? How did it? What? Tell me the story.
So originally, I was just doing like laser lipo services at that time, and I was doing fitness training, just those two services. And I started working on women who had postoperative care from like surgeries, and I would see how much my massage plus like the advice I was giving on their nutrition, their diet would assist on like their recovery and what they can do to assist having a healthy recovery, lacking infection and that sort of stuff. So then by the time 2019 came, 2018, my son was born, and he actually came out with multiple health complications. So he's had over 11 surgeries, and we spent several months in hospital. And during this time when Blue Zone Body Bar existed, I was also going to school for holistic nutrition and getting educated on that part so I could assist my clients a lot more. Mm-hmm. But coincidentally, when my son was born, he was born with trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome. And he was born with holes in his heart. His whole anatomy was different. His diaphragm was in his like rib cage, so they had to like push everything down. So that's where I was able to hone in on all the knowledge I had gained throughout this lifetime from my experience of dealing with illness and overcoming my sicknesses and assisting people in theirs. And I was able to be in a space where, okay, they're having complications with my son's recovery. He ended up getting an infection where his heart was worked on, and he almost lost his life. But thankfully, I was calm in chaos. And I reached out to a fourth doctor because 3 doctors didn't want to believe me when I was telling them something. And so I finally didn't stop until I found another doctor. And I said, hey, I respect that these are your colleagues, but I believe that I understand something a little bit different because I'm right here at the bedside and I'm observing something different. So please look into this and let me know, you know, and thankfully, after that going forward, they were like, okay, she's knowledgeable. She's aware of what she's doing. And I said, I had that power at that point. Once they discovered I was kind of right about something, I was like, okay, so every specialist you have with my son, we're going to sit down every Friday and we're going to discuss what your procedure is and how we're going to issue it. And I'm going to oversee it. And I'm going to let you know in what order we're going to do that. So I was able to apply all my knowledge in an actual hospital space. And I was just thankful to see, like, my son is thriving today. I've even gotten trained to deliver his therapies. Same with my mom. She's in her 11th year of recovery. Super proud of her. I've been like her aide for the last 11 years in assisting that. I've had people come from every walk of life, and I've been able to incorporate the knowledge. And it's not to say like, hey, doctors don't know what they're talking about. Just sometimes it doesn't hurt to get another opinion, especially when it comes to your health, because, you know, we're subjected to human error. We're all humans out here. And Just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you're not subjected to it or whatever meritocracy you have. So it's important that if you are concerned about your well-being, just know you're the one who's going to have to face the consequences of those choices of choosing to ignore it or choosing to empower yourself and find out more about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, so starting this business, where did it take you in terms of, because now you had the blue zone, but now you have changed directions.
Yes.
What happened for that? What was that pivotal moment for that change for you? And how is it going now?
So in 2019, I had to close down my space that I had. I had lost my other job. I was working in corporate.
How were you feeling around that time?
God, you know what? It's crazy because I believe that was when COVID just hit. I was calm. I was at peace while the world was at chaos. And I think it was because the chaos that I had gone through before that point had prepared me mentally for what was to come. So I felt like I was a guiding light. Where I lived, I had a gym. So I would open my gym doors to people to come and come work out with me. Let's have a meal. I started meal prepping for people at CAMH, my mom and some of her associates, assisting them in weight loss and stretching. I started hosting virtual workouts.
Wow.
Yeah, so that people could just get their mind right. It's I know how crazy and chaotic life can be, and then just throw in all the stuff that was happening during COVID. I was at peace. So I was able to be a leader in that area. And I'm thankful for the people who participated, who gave me that experience. I was very honored, and it just helped me give more direction in what I want Blake's Oasis, which is the evolution of Blue Zone Body Bar. We've come to Blake's Oasis, where when it's a desert out there and you don't think there's nothing to offer, let me nourish you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what does Blake's Oasis, what do people come to you for? And what have you experienced? Because you're working with a plethora of people.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, man. So I deal with everything. Sometimes I feel like I'm a therapist. Some sort of therapist. So I'm a complex trauma survivor. And I notice people are now starting to learn about these terminologies and about trauma and psychology. And so I have people who have recovered from cancer walk through my doors, people who have weight conditions that they would like to assist in resolving, people who just simply want to live a better quality of life, and they just need guidance and don't know where to start, because it can be overwhelming with the information overload we're receiving and understanding how to exercise discernment, what's good for me, what's not. Not everybody has that time to sit there and educate themselves on okay, is this fact or fiction? And is fact check right or not?
Google out there and all this so much information out there. Yeah.
So I feel when a lot of people feel their mainstream method of getting wellness checks isn't working for them anymore, they can come to me and then be heard and understood. Okay, there is something wrong besides what Advil can assist you in. And so I specialize right now in cupping and massage. I'm reframing touch for a lot of people and what that experience is like. We have a somatic system, and our body goes through trauma the way our mind does. And our mind, it doesn't know time. It doesn't know past, present, or future. It just knows what we create right now. And so our body constantly relives those pains if we're bringing ourselves back to that space. And so what I can do for people is assist in alleviating those pains that could possibly be creating within our minds, because that's how powerful it can be. And this is a new area of discovery. And, you don't realize how much disease is linked to just stress levels. So through cupping, I've been able to assist people in dropping their cortisol levels and just oxygenation of their muscles, proper oxygenation and hydration of the muscles. And, just being able to relax and stretch and be wow, I have never been able to stretch in this way or get this kind of motion. And I feel great that people can leave my table feeling a little bit lighter than when they came in. And then the other aspect is I do fitness and wellness coaching. So I have CEOs and people from every walks of life.
So how is it working with executives, but most importantly, creatives and entrepreneurs? What are some common themes that you're noticing through creatives that come to you that you work with?
They just burn out. You just want to crash and burn. Like, I will sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's like a lot of creatives.
Yeah.
You just like crash and burn. And it's like, no, like, stop. Like, you gotta really discipline yourself to get that sleep. Discipline yourself to get that hydration, that water, those electrolytes. Anything, like, even remember to eat, you know, because I know there's probably some days
I gotta remember sometimes too.
you know what I'm saying? So, you know, just being that voice, and it's important for creatives. Like, you guys are needed in this world, you know. We need you guys, and it's important for you guys to take care of your well-being, because with stress and cancer and disease just at an all-time high right now, especially just coming out of COVID and then all these natural disasters happening in the world, it's a lot. Take a moment and just learn to take a deep breath and slow down the pace. The process is going to happen. You're in the middle of it, but enjoy right now, right here. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about 3 days from now. It'll happen. And other stuff between. You're just going to have to go with the ebb and flow of it. But you got to understand, like, enjoy right now. Take care of yourself right now. Act as if you don't have tomorrow when you wake up today. Because it's not promised.
Wow. So I have a question, and I ask everyone as well.
Okay.
Like, for you, what is your why in this field? Like, why do you do this?
Because I feel like there's not enough guidance. We weren't taught how to care for our well-being in school. We were taught what to think, not how to think, and how to care for ourselves. I have 2 children, and I hope what I leave behind is that I can give them the understanding that we can enhance the quality of our life so that you're better for the generation to come. And we're just getting started. And I hope that creatives as a collective, whether you're a CEO, because you're a creative in your own right, if you're a business in the corporate world and in the creative industry like yourself. So, you know, in whatever spectrum you fall on, wellness, you can't have any wealth, any creativity if you don't take care of that wellness.
Yeah.
None of that will matter. And the one saying I love that I heard was like, a healthy man will have 1,000 wishes, but a sick person will only have one.
Woo! Say that one more time.
A healthy man can have 1,000 wishes, but a sick person will only have one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful. You know, and I think, health, as I get older now, I'm realizing, or I'm being more appreciative of it. Because when I was grinding, no sleep, no food, no outside, not even going for a walk, you know, and
oh my goodness.
I tell everyone that is in the grind, like, as much as you have a lot to do, find the time to slow down.
Take a breath.
Because I know what burnout feels like. And some people don't come back from burnout. I was fortunate, I was blessed to be able to overcome the burnout, but it is not pretty.
No, it's not. And like you said, some people don't ever come back from burnout because that passion has it's been fizzled. And that's why rest is so productive and needed. And how you reframe what rest is to you is your business. Like, it's not but if you're not doing anything that's going to be conducive to your future, slow down a second, take a minute, breathe, sit down. If you want to go have that ice cream today, I mean, I'm not going to tell you to overindulge, but if you haven't had, you know, something to treat yourself, whether it's ice cream, going to the spa, whatever wellness looks like to you, take a moment to just take that break. Walk somewhere, get outside, get fresh air, call a friend and say, how you doing today? Want to go for a walk? I have friends that I can call up and say, hey, let's go work out. I love that I have friends that are in that space. I also have other friends like, hey, if you want to go party, you can go party. But it's nice to know you have different people for different things. So you have a support group, because I feel like also a major thing like on men is like a lot of men feel isolated.
Yeah.
You know, especially as creatives or CEOs, a lot of men are facing isolation right now. So finding a community of people or men that can come together and just rest with you. You can rest with other people. You can rest in the same space as somebody and be at peace, you know, and how you choose to frame what rest looks like to you is important, but just it will help you take a deep breather and then go back to where you're going. I love to like quote Nipsey on, you know, it's a marathon. It really is. You have to learn to pace yourself as you're going through these experiences, but you got to have the discipline.
Talk about it.
To put your wellness first, because you will run yourself to the ground. First-hand experience. I've done it. I've been there. I've been in and out of the hospital for years. And I said, I can't do it. I'm not risking it. I don't want to die young. I don't. I have kids that I want to live for. And there's a lot of people who are dying young and don't need to.
Wow. That's so big. That's so big. So after everything that you've been through, and I'm so proud of you, by the way. Very proud of you.
Thank you, too. I'm proud of you, too.
Come on. So what would, like, if the 10-year-old Miranda was looking at this video right now, like, what would she say to you now?
Don't quit. Love yourself. And it's okay to be different. It's okay that people aren't going to share your vision because they're not meant to. And people aren't going to believe it and support it, but there will be love. There'll be even more love than there is, you know, dislike. So don't listen to the naysayers, you know, continue on your journey and take pride in where you came from and know that you're worthy of where you're going.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
What is next in your journey right now? What do you see for yourself in this beautiful journey of yours?
Oh my gosh, I am super excited. Hopefully looking forward to putting an event together for my clients and potential clients in the future. Just a appreciation for the business and where it's come in December. So look out for that. Also just expanding and building a team. You know, going slow, not going fast. Before I used to think like building fast was the answer, and that's not. So over here, you know, take your time, learn how to scale, and just enjoy the process of the journey. Like, I can't believe if I told you what 8 months looked like, it would be unrecognizable. So 8 months later, would I be able to tell you I'd be here on a couch discussing the journey with you? Could not, but keep going.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what they say? It's better to go slow together than fast alone.
Yes.
Right?
That is so true.
And that encompasses pretty much everything that I've heard you say today.
Yes.
And it reassures me to find comfort in the slow process with people that are holding you, that are pouring into you, that are shouting your name and celebrating you as well. Rather than going fast and you're alone, you miss all the things that life has to offer, and then you burn out, and then there's no one to catch you.
And stay authentic. Stay true to you. Don't go for the aesthetic. Be you. That's what's going to create the experience.
Yeah. You know, guys, we're in a world of aesthetics. Don't be pleasing people with aesthetics. Please them with the heart.
Yeah.
With who you are. Know who you are. And it's okay to be different, because that's what makes you unique.
Yeah. And if you lose it all, who are you going to be? That's what matters, right? Because when you have it, I've been broke, I've been homeless, I've lost it all. And that's what matters, your character. How do you treat people, and how do you value yourself in those moments when you have no materialistic attachments? Who are you?
Who are you? That's all I'm saying. You know, and this was great. This was amazing. Thank you so much for sitting and giving me these gems. How can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me at blakes.oasis. That's my Instagram, or 647-704-1529. That is my direct line. And feel free to reach out, shoot me a text, and we'll get back to you at our earliest convenience.
Well, guys, thank you for tuning in once again. You see what I'm doing here. We're sitting here having real talk, real convo, and it's not about the accolades.
No.
It's about the journey. The journey is where most of the meat lies. Like we're with the journey, you're always gonna get the fruit. You keep going, you keep going,
Yeah.
you keep going, keep going. The accolades will come, but remain who you are. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate the small wins in your
Yeah.
lives, because eventually you'll get to the bigger wins. Compile them all together. So thank you guys so much for staying with me. Until next time, Miranda, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, and that's a wrap. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm glad I was able to share the journey with you.
Oh my